Hi, I'm Misty Velasky, and this is Ojai Valley News in Depth. Joining us today in the studio is John Zeretzke. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Misty. Good to be here.
Now, you are the director and mastermind producer of the upcoming World Music Festival in Libby Bowl, September 30th to October 2nd. So tell us, why are you bringing this to Ojai, and what is it about world music that's so appealing?
I met with Brian Bemmel about a year and a half ago, and Brian, as you know, does the Storytelling Festival, and he also runs performances to grow on. And I said to Brian, Ojai needs a World Music Festival. It'd be the perfect place to do it. So we decided we'd go ahead and tackle that. He went to his board, his nonprofit, they got behind it. It's part of their mission. And we're producing this wonderful festival with a wonderful team of volunteers and people putting all these different events on, focused around the bowl. So most of the shows will happen within the bowl within that time period. But we also have a fundraiser up at Larry Hagman's. We have workshops, master classes. You can go and take a taiko drum class, Japanese drums. They'll be provided for you by the OVN ensemble. We just feel that this is a rich opportunity. World music is popular, has been for years. It came out of traditional music and folk music. And we think Ojai is a perfect place to start this festival and bring people into our community and provide these wonderful sounds and experiences for our people right here in our own community.
You and I have talked about this before, but there's something universal about world music. So what is it that draws all different types of people to this kind of sounds?
For me, it was always a sense of the exoticness of these wonderful instruments and these sounds. I was attracted as a young classical violinist to the sound of classical music, but once I explored many styles of violin playing, I was fascinated by how people played the violin differently in different parts of the world. And then I discovered other violins that were ancient violins that are played on the knee, like the kemenche. Different sounds from different instruments. They create different emotion and feelings for us. And I think that reaches people, whether you understand the language of a song or not. Mm-hmm. You understand the context and the power of the music through the beats, the rhythms, and the sonics of the instruments. So it speaks to everyone, and I think that's why it became such a popular movement many, many years ago.
Mm-hmm. Now, the World Music Festival is bringing people from all over the world, dozens of different instruments. So tell us a little bit about the bands that you're going to be bringing in.
Well, this year Brian and I had to decide as directors who we want to bring in. So it was tough because there's so many great performing groups out there. We brought in the OVN ensemble. They're a wonderful group playing Japanese-based traditional music, but also mixed with contemporary. So they have a real edge and a wonderful sound. Some of the guys in the group actually do the tuvan throat singing, and if you never heard it, it goes octaves below our range, and it's amazing sound. You'll hear that on the stage in the Libby Bowl. We have Samite from Uganda, who some people know from the Storytelling Festival. Wonderful performer, and instead of just doing stories, he's going to be singing a lot and working with us. And also one of my groups, the Ancient Grooves, which are master musicians from around the world. Malik Sow from Senegal will be here, one of the great djembe players in the world. Martina Espino, who plays all the Central Latin American, South American instruments. Chris Garcia, who's the drummer for Frank Zappa's group, the Grandmothers. We've got some great musicians coming in.
Mm-hmm. And, of course, lots of different performances. You mentioned Samite going up to Larry Hagman's Heaven. That's Friday, correct?
Correct. Friday at 6:30 we have our fundraiser. We've kept the price low, and we've tried to. So it's $50, get you in, appetizers, drinks. You get to see the fantastic home of Larry Hagman's, which is, if you've never seen, it's worth the price of admission right there. And then some of Ancient Grooves will do a little teaser. We'll play a little bit, and they'll feature Malik on djembe, and then Samite is going to do his wonderful performance he put together with images and his experiences with the gorillas of Uganda.
Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a visual and sound and taste and...
Yeah, a little bit of everything. You get to stand with your wine and sit and listen to Samite perform too.
Mm-hmm. Now, of course, the festival includes some educational and interactive activities as well.
Yes, Brian and I are very committed to arts education and educating our youth through arts. And we wanted a bus-in performance, so we've got a 10 o'clock bus-in. Mm-hmm. Schools, there's still some room, but we've got up to about almost 650, 700 kids coming in at 10 o'clock on Friday to see a bus-in performance with Ancient Grooves and Samite. Mm-hmm. The workshops are all educational too, and like I said, there's drumming workshops. Judy Piazza Piazza is going to be there with her group on Sunday morning. And that's going to be a wonderful concert with her wonderful musicians down from Santa Barbara, an Eastern-based concert, and she'll be doing a drum workshop and rhythms from around the world. So you can take all these different workshops.
And you have, I would imagine, dozens of different instruments just yourself that you can play. What types of instruments are we going to be seeing on the stage?
I brought a few in today, if you want to hear a few.
Absolutely, please do.
World music, if you're still not too sure, it really is about a lot of different types of exotic instruments. Martin Espino, my partner with Ancient Grooves, makes a lot of different flutes from ancient cultures. This is one he decorated and made. These are made from gourds, and this is basically a ancient Mexican flute, pre-Spanish, and so it's kind of a Mesoameric instrument. These flutes, a lot of instruments in different parts of the world from very early civilizations and cultures were not tuned. We always think of whole steps, half steps, but Martin always says the idea behind these flutes is to not worry about what pitches you have, but it's how you play those pitches that evoke the real feeling of the music.
It's so haunting and emotion-provoking. So what do you call this one?
Well, this is a form of ocarina, and often these would be made in different parts of South America and Central America out of clay, but they also made them out of gourd. And it's basically the idea of a recorder. We relate to recorders in schools and European recorders, but it uses a fipple, so it's dividing the air column. Half the air goes in, half it goes out. Now, that same idea can be shown here with these Hawaiian nose flutes. And you may be laughing, and people are probably going to laugh now, because you think of something like a kazoo. It's going to be a kind of a funny sound, nose flute. The Hawaiians have a wonderful saying, and my good friend and partner in Hawaii, in Maui, is one of the torchbearers of those traditions, wind traditions in the Hawaiian Islands. He made both these flutes and gave them to me. And the saying behind the Hawaiian nose flute is that the air from the nose is purer than the air from the mouth because it does not mix with words. So they're considered kind of sacred flutes. And I'll just play a little bit. This is the really small one. It'll have much higher pitches. They're played with one hand. You cover one nostril, and then you hold the flute right here. So it's kind of a pure sound. Isn't that beautiful?
I would not expect that out of a nose.
Most people don't. Here's the lower one. It has a much lower, richer resonance to it. And they're really beautiful. If you hear them in a composition, you will hear these on stage Saturday night at the Libby Bowl in our wonderful concert that brings everybody all together, all the groups at one time, 7:30 at the Libby Bowl. And you'll hear some of these played by Martine, my partner, and myself in Ancient Grooves. That beautiful sound?
That's gorgeous.
And then the third instrument that I brought today is representative of the string families. Being a violinist, I've studied many styles of the violin in different parts of the world, Arabic style, Gypsy style, how they would play it in Turkey, how they play in North Africa. Sometimes they play it on the knee, the violin. Early violins started on the ground and they moved up. So this instrument that comes from Sweden is kind of a variant of the early violins. This has been found in stone inscriptions and drawings in Europe and Northern Europe up to about 800-900 years ago in churches, and it still has carried on its tradition today. It comes from Sweden. It's called nyckelharpa. It was played in other parts of Europe. It made its way down. And it's basically a sympathetic violin. It's played at the waist level. So what I mean by sympathetic is that when you play this instrument, I'm going to get this neck strap here. You play it with a bow. You only touch the top strings, and the 12 other strings sit lower on the instrument. You never touch them with a bow. You just play the top strings, and the lower strings vibrate in sympathy with the other strings. So when you ever touch a note, it rings and rings and rings. So that's what they mean by sympathetic violin. Beautiful sound.
That is amazing.
And you can kind of hear that minor influence there. Reminds you of some of the ancient Gregorian chants that would use that kind of minor scale. So you can hear the links, even in listening to this instrument, to medieval and Baroque music that was where scales really evolved. The little tangents, the wooden tabs, you really can't change them. So this really gets into an instrument that uses the idea of whole steps and half steps like we use in our scales today.
Mm-hmm. Great. And this is only a very small selection of what we're going to be seeing, of course. What is your favorite, what would you say, if there's one thing that people shouldn't miss out of the whole entire event, what would be it? What's your favorite thing?
That's a hard one to say, but I would have to say if you can't make any of the individual afternoon concerts by the different groups on Saturday, come to the evening concert and you'll get to see a taste of all the groups on stage. And we've got some surprises and special guests for the end of that evening. Mm-hmm. We are going to put a lot of people together for a big closer at the end of the night, and it should be very exciting. So we're going to say, don't miss the Saturday night. If you can come to the fundraiser, that's a phenomenal event too. And of course, for the people who can't make much else, come and check out a workshop. You can come by and you go online, pick out what you want to do, hit the little button and pay for your tickets and come on by and play a African drum or a frame drum or a taiko drum.
Mm-hmm. And where can people find those tickets?
You can go online at ojaiworldmusic.org. Mm-hmm. That's www.ojaiworldmusic.org. And you'll see all the information on the site. You can read about the artists, go to their website links, and check it out.
Well, thank you very much for being here and sharing your amazing instruments with us.
Thanks, Misty. On behalf of the Ojai World Music Festival, Brian Bemmel, Performances to Grow On, and our wonderful staff and all our volunteers, we want to thank all of the people of Ojai for coming out and supporting this event.
Absolutely. The World Music Festival will be coming to Libby Bowl September 30th to October 2nd. I'm Misty Velasky. This is John Zeretzke. This has been Ojai Valley News in Depth.